Well, hello model car fans. Welcome to the Muscle Car Modeler. My name is Raul. And this week I'm going to update you on my 60 Corvette project here. And this thing's taken a turn, and it's just kind of how it's been going for me for whatever reason. And I'm experimenting. I'm not afraid to try different things and learn new things. And with that comes risk and stepping out of your comfort zone. And as you know, I don't mind sharing those with you and telling you where I kind of goofed up and everything. So this is going to be one of those, because the last time you saw this, it was green with the white coves and it was ready for bare metal foil. And you know, here's the Cascade green right here, because that's still, and I got the foil on that, although I didn't really use the adhesive. So, and then I had actually completed the interior, so the interior is detailed and all done and pretty much ready for the body to be dropped on. I got the decals all over it, and I've got a few left to do, but the entire engine compartment is done. Everything is set. Wheels are on. The suspension is all done. And I was hoping this video I was going to be showing you this, the entire chassis, and then painting the painted body and dropping it, you know, on and showing you the completed build. So, you know, sometimes it's fun to show you the whole thing taken apart like this one. But that didn't how this one worked out. So that's 90% done. But what happened is, you know, I mentioned in another video, I picked up this bare metal foil adhesive, and it's from Bare Metal Foil Company, and I hadn't seen this stuff before. But when you try different things or learn new things, you take some risks and some things actually happen. So the directions on this tell you there's a strong adhesive. You can thin it with water, and you can spray it with your airbrush. It's, the more I read into it, it's pretty much meant to be sprayed right on the aluminum foil itself, like bare aluminum foil. It says lay foil, glue side down on wax paper. Don't let it get dusty. Let it dry for about 10 minutes. And I found out you brush this stuff on, and it takes a while, but it'll get sticky, and it's a little bit thick. And if you put the bare metal foil on it and you squish it out, it will squeeze out onto the sides. So I had realized all of that, and I was like, all right, I'm experimenting and trying different things, and wasn't having any real issues. I was trying it on a couple different things, used it on the interior of the Eleanor convertible, and was learning some of that. But it cleaned up with water as well, since it says you can dilute it with water. But it also says clean airbrush with mineral spirits to get it out of it if you use it. And then excess adhesive can be removed with alcohol. It says that right there. So I'm like, all right. On this one, I had gotten a lot of the foil laid down across the tops here and got it taken care of in some of those areas. And for the most part, I had got all that done. And I cut it with the razor and peeled and trimmed it off. I still hadn't done the sides, but I had done the tops here, all around here, these two pieces, and even these. And the glue really held it down, so it really didn't want to come off. But I was able to cut it with the X-Acto knife and pull it off. So I was pretty happy with how it was coming out. And then here's where, and then during the handling, I was handling the hood and everything. I broke the hinges. I broke one of these hinges. I have a 58 parts kit, so I grabbed this from that kit so I can glue it in there. And I'm like, all right, well, since that happened, I was gonna just cut the other end off. I was like, I'll just have the hood where it pops on and off. So I had this, but I'm like, with the paint and everything, I really didn't want to risk it. But then what had happened is I'm like, all right, let's see how this cleans. So I was cleaning with the water, but since it says alcohol, and I think that meant clean it off of the aluminum foil with alcohol, so I put some alcohol on a Q-tip, some rubbing alcohol, and I had some 91% rubbing alcohol, so I put that on there because I'd use it to strip paint a little bit. Not really thinking too much about it, because it takes a while for that stuff to attack the clear coat. So I'm rubbing into it and just trying to clean it off, thinking it'll clean off really quick. And it came off right away, but it's like one or two swipes and I should have stopped. I didn't. I kept rubbing. I'm like, okay, I keep moving around, cleaning it off really better. And then all of a sudden, it went through the clear and it was taking the green paint out from underneath. I had a spot over here where it really took it. And I'm like, oh man. So then it was like, all right, I messed that up. Let's set it down, think about it for a little bit. What am I going to do? And it's like, well, really not much I can do at this point. So decided I got to strip it. You know, I'm bound and determined to finish this model kit, so I got to strip it. And I still have some of the Cascade paint, but not a whole lot of it. So I tossed the body in the paint stripper and let it strip. Then, you know, it's like, all right, well, now I need to fix the hood. So I started to cut and chisel that away because it was glued in pretty good, and then got this piece on since I broke the hinges. Now I can glue that back in place, which I haven't done that yet. And then toss the rest of it in the stripper. Now here's another area where I kind of messed up. And check this out. I used Scale Finishes Super Primer. That's what primer this is. I also used Scale Finishes enamel white on the side here, gloss enamel, which was ermine white, and then Scale Finishes Cascade green, and I used my automotive clear on it. The purple stuff, it stripped all that paint off, but not this primer. I don't know what this primer is, or what it's actually, you know, it didn't strip the primer off. It looks like it thinned it, but with a primer where it etched in, it's all gray. I mean, I could literally paint right over this, and I might just do that. And my Eleanor did the same thing. When I stripped it, it had this primer underneath it, and the primer didn't strip, and I thought it was kind of odd, and I didn't think too much about it. So when I put this one in there and let it strip, the primer was still there, and I'm like, okay. Now my stuff made a big old mess, so it was cloudy. I couldn't see anything, and that's where this was. Now this was glued with the white glue, and which comes right off. Soak it in water, and it'll come right off and let go. So there's no glue marks on this at all. And I like to use that stuff for windows, because if you mess up and get it on the windows, it's also easy to wash and clean off. But I threw the whole thing in there like this, including the plastic little parts that go down here. That's where I messed up. It stripped it, it fell apart. I pulled the window out, pulled this out, and cleaned all that off. By the way, the underside of this and the hood, I didn't spray them with primer. They got overspray of body color, but I didn't spray them with primer, only the tops. So it's kind of funny that it stripped, because this was brush painted black, and there was green overspray on here from airbrushing it green. But I didn't worry about priming it, so I didn't stress about that. But it took the black off no problem and left the white. Same thing with the underside of the hood. But on the trunk, because the trunk is body color, I primed the underside of the trunk. But anyway, when I put all this stuff in the purple pond, took all of it out and cleaning it off, and I got my parts back in primer, and I was going through and cleaning it out and checking, and as far as I was concerned, the purple stuff was very cloudy. You couldn't see in it. It was pretty much done. I had a lot of paint debris in the bottom of it, so it was time to clean it out. So I did clean it out. Well, I lost those two parts. They went down the drain. I was like, can't believe I did that. And that's how it goes sometimes. And I was a little tired, and it was like, oh, you got to be kidding me. I lost those parts. So that's what this is. I made a mold of them. So there's my mold for a couple of replacements. Since I have a couple more of these kits, I have the parts on trees. So, but I plan to use the tops on those kits, so I didn't want to just take the parts and not replace them. So I made this mold here, and it's ready to make some replacements. I haven't done that yet, but that's where that is. I just barely pulled that out of the my mold making box just a couple of days ago. So got to make those, and I don't really need to prime them or anything, just sand them, get them ready because they get foiled. And ordered more paint for this and getting it all ready. And then one of the other things, when I was doing my Challenger kit components, I remembered, you know, since they have a bunch of these, and I have some windshield frames with the sun visors that I cut from bodies that I had cut engine compartments out of. I'm like, oh, so I cut these. They're actually a really nice size to add sun visors to this particular car. So those are ready, but now I'm starting all over with the body and paint work. So that's kind of why this one hasn't been updated. I've been having a lot of trouble getting motivated to finish this one, even though I'm 90% there. But now I'm kind of starting over on the body. Not a big deal. Paint's coming, and I just really want to get this one done. And I was liking where it was going, but made a fatal mistake and wish I can go back, but I can't. So it's just basically go back to primer and start over. I really don't have any body work I have to redo or anything, because this was a nice body, just sanded and primed. And I may just add another layer of primer, glue this on, and go for it, or just leave it like this, because this primer is really nice and really no scratches. But I'll be continuing on with this, but that way you know where this is, why you haven't seen it, and what's going on. So thank you for tuning in, subscribing, and all your comments. I really appreciate it. And you guys, you have a wonderful weekend, and I'll see you next Saturday.